Sure, abuti ona hle.
Honorable Sauls, we don't have water this year. Your voice is running away. We don't have water. We must borrow your water. Honorable Sauls.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can I also just request, there's some pictures I've sent to the support staff, if that can be flighted later on, if I ask. I've sent it to Anele. The COO, I'm going to start with you. We only have 15 minutes, so I'm going to request that we just be short and concise so that I can be able to cover as much as I can. Do you remember the 28th of February that you stated for the record that Rihanna van der Nest, who was, the system said she was provisionally funded, and as a result, she didn't re-register on the system for funding for this year. And then Kiabetswe Nkosi, whose the system status says verification. CEO, I hope you're going to be fast because you're next. Kiabetswe Nkosi, verification was the status. And can you remember that you stated for the record that you do concede that they were unfairly treated and you will ensure that you give me the definite confirmation they will be assisted and funded? Can you remember that? You remember?
I remember that, yes.
Please speak to the mic. So we are recording the proceedings, COO.
Yes, I remember that.
Do you stay by that assertion?
Twice.
Do you stay by that commitment?
That they will be funded.
Yes.
Yes, so I stay by it because I would want to make sure that each and every student that will process their application gets funded.
Yes, but it's different from they will be, right? Because that was the commitment that you made. So the CEO is now not here, Chair. I don't know how we.
I granted him an opportunity to go get water.
Okay.
Quickly, yeah. Are you done with the COO?
No, because this is now where the CEO had to come in. So I don't know. How do you want to?
No, let's ask the question. They will write if no one can sign, if no one can respond, then we'll write and then give it to the CEO. But let's try and move with the. I know you are.
The question is for the CEO.
Okay.
He's here. It's
Yeah.
just he's out now, but he's here.
Yeah.
I can't be writing to him, Chair.
No, I'm saying ask. They will write and see if again we've got the management, senior management. They must answer. And if they can't answer, then we'll defer it to the CEO.
Okay. CEO, did you lie to me on the record?
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
No, did you lie to me on the 28th of February on the record?
No, I did not lie.
You didn't lie.
No.
I tell you why. You referred me to the CEO, if you can remember. And the CEO said because of that provisionally funded situation, and even though the student didn't know, and it was a system issue, that she will not be funded, the one student will not be funded, and will only be funded next year. So the student, as we speak, will this year then not go to study and had to go look for a job. So it's only the CEO and yourself that can confirm what do we take for the record. CEO, the COO on the 28th of February made a commitment, and he stated for the record again, he stays by that commitment. that these students will be funded. Your response to me was that the one student will not be funded this year, and as a result, she is not going to study. She had to go and look for work so that she can start studying next year. So I was asking the CEO, did he lie to me on the record? He says no, but materially that student now is not funded. So for the record, did the CEO lie to me?
Yeah, thanks, Honorable Sauls. I think when you had forwarded the complete, I tried to look for it on my phone, but I see it's gone now. So when I'll just take you through the process. When you'd referred the matter to myself, I sent it straight to the ops team to try and get a response. And I would have taken the same response from the ops team after reviewing it and sent it back to you to say, I think if I remember correctly, it was that the student had missed the application cycle and should reapply in the next academic year. So that would have been the position, but I'm happy to relook at the case based on what the COO has said and to give you a final response on that.
I'll be happy if you relook at it, because I obviously take for the record what the COO has said, that they will be funded, given when we explain the situation in this very setting. So your response then is opposite than his, but I'm glad that you're making a commitment to relook at it and deal with it. Let me congratulate you on the position. So my approach is not going to be for you to answer questions that you have not been part of. So we're going to use the approach of let's find solutions, you and I together in this session. But I'm only going to deal with stuff where you have actually participated in. Okay? So very quickly, CEO, are you corrupt? Yes.
No.
Are you corrupted?
No.
What lengths will you go to deal with corruption when we find it in NSFAS?
I think as the board would have outlined in the turnaround strategy and in the vision and mission, is that we have a zero tolerance approach to corruption. Yeah. And that where there has been instances of wrongdoing identified by internal bodies or external bodies, there must be consequence management for that, both through internal disciplinary mechanisms as well as through civil as well as criminal cases.
I'm very happy to hear that. Does NSFAS still have 4 different versions of the same NSFAS portal?
The solution partners, I'm assuming you're referring to.
No, the portal, the online portal that you used. The last time we discovered that there was 4 different portals used for the accommodation thing, but it's 4 different portals provided by 4 different providers that is paid for one thing with 4 different versions of that one thing.
Yes, there are still 4 solution partners.
Do you think it's necessary to have 4 versions of one thing and paying 4 separate providers for it?
I think in the session we've responded to the fact that we don't necessarily agree with the design of the student accommodation pilot project, and that we have referred it both for a legal review, which would inform our next steps on the matter, but that the matter has also been referred to SIU for investigation.
In the last meeting, which was 28 February, the same question came up. They said by this time, between 4 and 6 months, they'll be able to have a definite answer to say that it will be scrapped or not. Are you aware of that?
Was not in that meeting, so but we can follow through. The institution must stand, so if that's the commitment it made, we can definitely give an update on that commitment.
Are you willing to scrap it? To have one version of one service rather than 4 and paying 4 different providers for it? Are you willing to scrap it?
I think, in my view, the entirety of the student accommodation project needs to be reconsidered. And NSFAS's roles and responsibilities in student accommodation need to be reconsidered.
I agree. So you are then committed to, whilst you're sorting out the problem, we can deal with individual matters that this current process has obviously affected certain people. So we can deal with it.
Yeah. We should.
All right, let's do that. So is it true that you have received a non-payment complaint from Stir Park Guest House
That's correct.
via email?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about it because you are fully aware of it and you've engaged on the matter, right? Do you confirm that Stir Park Guest House is accredited?
Yes.
Is it true that Training Young Minds is the solution partner?
Yes.
What qualifies Training Young Minds as the solution partner?
I can't respond to that question. We didn't appoint Training Young Minds, so it was not done under my term of office.
But you can't say we didn't appoint.
Okay, NSFAS appointed Training Young Minds. We have referred the contract in question for a legal and a performance review, which will inform whether they are competent or incompetent to perform the function.
So at this point, you're assuming that there is some questionable issues there.
I'd say the entirety of the student accommodation project has questions attached to it.
Okay, so there's a possibility that Training Young Minds might not qualify to be a solution provider. That's what you're saying, for the record.
You see, I don't want to make statements that, because these are legal
No,
proceedings.
based on our
that involve
discussion, it's gone for legal review. It only goes for legal review because there's questionable
Yes,
issues.
so I want to say that across the board, accreditation partners, solution partners,
All
there
right,
are
but
severe
specifically
concerns.
this one. And the only reason why I'm interjecting, not out of disrespect, just because I've got 15 minutes. So for this one, it's questionable,
I have concerns about the performance of all our solution partners, yeah,
including this one,
including this one.
including Training Young Minds.
Yes.
Are you aware that the inspector listed on the inspection report does not work for Training Young Minds?
No, I'm not aware.
I'm informing you that the inspector listed on the inspection report does not work for Training Young Minds. But that's the document that you have. And I can provide it for you. But we're helping each other.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
knew, so
That
we're
would be
helping each other. And you're committed to dealing with corruption.
Yeah.
I'm also informing you that the inspector on the report, he's a civil engineering technician employed by Lidwaba Consulting Engineers. So what has happened here is Young Training Minds is contracted by NSFAS. Their core business has nothing to do with accommodation. They are a skills training center. They then outsource this service to Lidwaba Engineering Consultants. And then an civil engineering technician goes and does the inspection and then does a report and submits it to you, and NSFAS receives it. Now we're going to show why this is important. Dineo, who is the black female who's owning this small business, Stir Park, she has reached out to NSFAS for like 5 months. Are you aware that she has not been paid? Not a cent.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Will you pay her?
So I'll tell you the latest update I have on that matter here is that of the 52 students that are staying in her property, 26 can't be verified as registered students. We don't have registered data for them. That's a major red flag for us, which means we have to be able to investigate. So we first have to investigate those 26 students, why we don't have reg data and why they're staying in a residence where NSFAS accommodation is being claimed. Should we be able to verify the registration data for the students which are residing there, which we can confirm are NSFAS students, of course, the private landlord must be paid.
Mr. CEO, you have not responded to Dineo since the 2nd of May. Only an hour, just an hour ago, Pindile from your office sent an email with that information. And it's not 26 that's unaccounted for. Pindile says 24. Which is it for the record?
Yeah, I wanted to get an update before I got here this morning.
I'm
This
giving
morning
you the
it was
update.
26, so it might be 26, might
It's
be
24.
But yeah, we'll accept the 24.
And Pindile from your office sent it just an hour ago today. And you haven't spoken to Dineo since 2nd May, and she's been asking for information. So 24 students is unaccounted for. 21, according to Pindile on email from your office, 21 out of that 53 students that's been living there for 6 months at this black, female-owned small business, 21 has been paid directly from NSFAS for the past 5 months. She's been asking for information from NSFAS. No one has been answering her for 5 months. Today only. Now, because you're not corrupt, I'm not going to assume that there's a specific reason why she's only been answered today because we're sitting. I'm not going to assume that. But she only got response today. That you are not going to take responsibility for the students that's been paid directly and for the students that's now unaccounted for. CEO, do you agree that 53 total students has lease agreements that has been signed on the NSFAS portal?
I'll have to go back and check that. Yeah.
I can confirm that 53 students on the NSFAS portal has signed lease agreements. NSFAS hasn't told this young lady that 24 is unaccounted for and 21 has been paid directly by yourselves. Now you are saying you're not going to pay her after 5 months. This is how much she loses because of that. 432,000 rand. You're not going to pay her. Plus 378,000 rand. You're not going to pay her. But she hosted all these students. And furthermore, you refuse. NSFAS refused to tell her who the students are. Is that fair? You tell her after 5 months, it's okay, they signed lease agreements. Then you tell her, we're not going to pay you for these students. Then she asks, who are they, so that I can make sure that I deal with them. You don't want to give her information. Is that fair?
So let me say is that I don't think there's any commitment to not pay anybody who's rendered services to NSFAS here, right? And if anybody in the NSFAS team has indicated that there'll be non-payment on any particular reason, that needs to be clarified here.
Okay, so
What we need to, if you let me finish, is to say, when you come across these issues, and I've stated from the outset today that this student accommodation project has many flaws associated with it. This is but one landlord. There are thousands of them across the depth of the country which are experiencing similar issues here. And I don't want to run away from this problem. It is a problem which exists. I can only take so many landlord calls on a day, and I can respond to as many as I can. But when I respond to them, I like to give them firm information about the way forward here. And these matters have to go through a process of investigating what is transpiring. I'll come back to the point I made, is to say, if we just go ahead and pay, we could certainly, today I could go back to the office and say to the team, everybody who has submitted a claim, let's pay everyone. Yeah. If you let me finish, let's pay everyone, right? But the reality is that on the other side of that, when we are audited, we are expected to account that we went through some validation process to check that these students were there. Now, if we were to go back and investigate and say 24 students were staying on the property that did not have NSFAS accreditation but signed a lease agreement, the question is why? And when we have to answer the why.
Do you know why I'm interjecting? Just because of my time. My time is up. And the only reason why I'm interjecting is not out of disrespect, but the question is why. I agree with you. And I'm saying to you, because we're working together here, your office has told her that because they've been paying those students directly, she's not going to get that money because money has already been paid. You saying we must ask why. I am asking why. And I am saying it will be unfair for what NSFAS has done. And you're right, there's more cases like this. What NSFAS has done is wrong. This small business worked with you in good faith. You are now causing her to lose money, lose business. And as I close, Chair, I would just like the CEO to see what I'm talking about. If you would indulge me, it's just going to take 5 seconds. But we're not there. I'm not there. I haven't met these people. We have received emails. The committee's received emails. But when we went deeper into this, we found this and we're bringing it to you. And I'm hoping that she will not be only paid for 8 students out of 53. It will be wrong to a black-owned small business. And we say we want to create jobs. This is not what is happening here. But I want you to see what her place looked like when she started with NFSAS and what's happening now. Then, Chairperson,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Honorable struggling to get the pictures there. Honorable Law, giving you extra 6 minutes.
Well,
You're going to cause problems for me with members because I've stopped there.
Chairperson, then can I
No,
make
they-
this comment?
No, they are complaining to me now.
That's fine. Can I make the comment?
It's been
in
6
conclusion.
minutes. No.
Not just
Honorable
on
Law.
what that place looks like.
All right,
They are
all
now
right.
using,
Honorable
they are
Sauls,
now
let's not do that.
not using electricity.
Yeah, let's not do that.
She can't pay electricity.
Yeah, but you
They
see
are
now we are
cooking
creating a
on
problem.
rice stands. I'm just
No
saying,
problem.
I wanted to show that.
I
And I'll
understand
send
that
the
point,
thing.
but I'm saying, let's try. We agree on the time for everybody. So let's stick to it if
I
we
will,
want to make-
Chairperson.
Yeah, but it's now 6 minutes later. They are complaining that we're
No
supposed
problem,
to go
Chair.
out at 2, and there are 2 people who are
No
still
problem.
supposed to ask questions.
No problem.
Honorable Law.
No problem.
Sure, I would do ownership.